Economic growth. Now, for the latest on Operation Phakisa, we are joined in Durban by SABC's Blain Herman. Blain, a very good morning to you. I believe you do have a guest there. The minister is with you. But before you do that, just paint us a picture as to what is happening there this morning.
Yeah, very good morning to you, Elvis. Good morning, everybody. We come to you live from the Nkosi Albert Lutuli International Convention Center. The president is actually expected here shortly. Earlier on, he did pay a visit to the Southern African shipyards, and that is actually in the port of Durban. And that company, in fact, actually got the contract to build 9 tugboats, and right here in South Africa. So the president was giving a bit of an update on that, also visiting with workers and finding where do we stand in terms of that contract, in the terms of building that tugboats. And it's all in line with Operation Phakisa, which was launched, as you said, 3 years ago. So what's the big deal about Operation Phakisa? Why should we care? Well, let's take you through some of the numbers. South Africa has a coastline of over 3,000 kilometers. It also has an exclusive economic zone of about 1.5 million square meters. Now, an exclusive economic zone is basically the ocean that South Africa controls, a part of the sea that South Africa controls, the jurisdiction that this coastal state actually has over. And here we could potentially see a contribution of about 177 billion rand to the GDP of this country. Also, the creation of over 1 million jobs by 2033. So you can see the real importance of Operation Phakisa, an initiative like this, in order to, I guess, address many of South Africa's general problems and general challenges like poverty, unemployment, inequality, the triple threat, as they call it. Now, there's a lot of work streams of Operation Phakisa. One of them is marine and coastal tourism. And if we're talking about boosting domestic as well as international tourism, you can't leave that element out. Let's further explore this and other issues. The Minister of Tourism joins me now live, Tokozile Xasa. Thank you very much indeed for your time. This is an important event happening, a briefing by the president giving us an update of where we stand in terms of Operation Phakisa. Let's start off there, though. Many from the broadcast we had this morning, some were unclear about what Operation Phakisa is. Break it down for us. What is this all about?
Thank you very much. Indeed, this is a very important moment for South Africa, because as government of South Africa, we're looking into how can we grow our economy. What areas can we pull together, and what mechanism can we use in order for us to get fast and big results, so that we can turn around and create the much needed jobs, and we can have money that gets into our purse for us to carry on with the mandate of government. So Operation Phakisa is actually where we identified that with our long coastline, there's much more potential that we can open up for our people to participate, where we can build, and manufacture, and also create much more space and unlock the economic potential that is there.
Those are the key words, isn't it? Potential, fast results now. In terms of tourism, how does that translate into your portfolio, marine and coastal tourism? How would Operation Phakisa affect it?
Initially, you may remember that in 2015 when it started, tourism was not part of it. So we only identified together with small harbors in 2016. And already now we are at a stage where we've been through cabinet processes where we've pulled together what we think can come out from tourism. With tourism, we are looking on the side of marine and coastal, where we're looking into what is it that we can do as tourism, where we've identified in several of the areas where we've identified small harbors, because it's not only happening where there are big harbors, like you are here in the port of Durban, talking Port Elizabeth, talking other big harbors. Here, where there are small harbors, we're looking at the potential where those fishing licenses, those whale watching boats can be able to dock, and we can open other sites where people can get into the sea, can use the new beaches. We are able to open new beaches and develop new beaches, develop infrastructure there, make sure our people participate, infrastructure that will be bringing in towards those beaches, so that our people, can also participate and can feel that the sea is also theirs. They can derive the benefit, but also the fishing licenses that are extended to our communities alongside the coast. They must have a way of getting into to dock their vessels, because there, as part of Operation Phakisa, the Department of Trade and Industry is responsible for ensuring that those small fishermen who are getting licenses are able to get the boats, because most of them would get these licenses and sell them back to big players because they don't have these boats. So now we're opening those opportunities, that it is not about in a big city. It must happen where they are, and they must participate. So with tourism, we also are looking into how we can tap into the cruise liners. Cruise ships that come and go in South Africa do not come from South Africa. And our young people have not been participating to get the skills to work there, because it's another world of work in the sea through those cruise liners. South Africa, through developing its own cruise liners, but also the participation with countries where cruise tourism is big, we already are now having young people who are being trained in those boats as chefs, as sommeliers. Some of them are working because it's a hotel in water. So already what we have been training our young people in the hotels in South Africa, now we'll be able to train them in those boats as we speak already. MSC has taken young people, 97 of them coming from the Eastern Cape. So it's on the very skills that we've been doing. Now it's enhanced. We are using the sea to unlock that potential. But on top of it, we also are enhancing and also, building on activities that are happening. The activities that are happening in the sea and festivals that are happening alongside the coast are some of what we have identified as tourism, so that our people participate to bring people towards those coasts. We're excited that South Africa is also known in the whole world, because we just launched 44 of the blue flag beaches in South Africa. So those beaches must translate now to grow more of infrastructure and other activities, so that our young people are able to participate, and communities around those areas. So it means it opens space for rural areas to participate. It opens space for townships and small cities and towns to participate.
You touched on something very interesting and very critical, I guess. It's infrastructure. Often when we talk about cities, coastal cities that are benefiting from tourism, it's often we talk about Cape Town, we talk about Durban, the big cities. What about other coastal cities? Are there adequate infrastructure development in place in order to, tap into this market?
Yes, for instance, from the tourism side, we have identified nodes in all the 4 coastal provinces. So where we have developed that, it's not just on the strip of the sea, but the node also enters into the city or the small town up to a certain radius where we identified as a precinct that we work on, so that we tackle the value chain of what is needed in order for instance, if I may just pick one site, talk Port St. John's. It's a small town, development very sluggish there, but with the identified sites for ocean economy, we're looking into a waterfront there. We're looking into a tidal pool there, so that people, because as you know, there's a history of sharks, attacks in the area. Tidal pool, so that people can still enjoy the beach, but at the same time, there's space now for further hotel development or lodges or whatever is applicable in order for us to keep the environment, but at the same time, more development. There is a small harbor there that is meant to assist young fishermen and all of that, and also docking of some of the smaller ships. So there is whole host of activity that is going to bring in infrastructure in Port St. John's, that is going to bring in much needed skills into those young people. Because, for instance, what is happening in the eastern part, you don't find anywhere where young people, even though we advertise to say we have this skills development program, those skills development programs require that they be trained in a facility.
Yeah.
And then there are no facilities there. So there is that potential where you're going to put on those facilities with industry, investment, and everybody working together. So all government departments are working together. And as we identify tourism potential, if it links with transport, we are able to bring in the Department of Transport. If it requires Department of Environment to ease in some of the areas that used to be protected areas, Department of Environment comes in because it's part of Operation Phakisa, roads and all of that. So it's a comprehensive kind of way of kind of intervention.
So integration, I guess, is key, isn't it? Also bringing inland, as we wrap up, bringing inland experience to coastal experience and merging those two together. That's quite key, isn't it?
Very much, yes. Because as we develop those nodes, we also are looking into inland waterways as part of this whole thing, and also tapping onto what is happening within that precinct, so that we are also able to bring them to the infrastructure that we're going to develop there. So it's quite exciting, and our people are going to participate. It is ensuring that it is not just something that comes from the top, but it is where our people are going to participate in.
Indeed, that's important. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Great insight there by the Minister of Tourism, Tokozile Xasa, giving us a sense of what we can expect and how Operation Phakisa fits into marine and coastal tourism. The President is expected here shortly. He will be giving us a progress report. When that happens, we'll try to bring that to you live. But for now, it's back to Johannesburg.
That's our reporter there, Blain Herman, coming to us live from Durban, as you can see there, with the minister as well. But right now, news just in. The High Court in Pretoria has given civil rights organisation AfriForum 7 days to indicate why it wants to be included as the second respondent in the case of Zimbabwe's First Lady Grace Mugabe and Gabriela Engels. The court has given the Zimbabwean High Commission the same number of days to indicate why it should be allowed to represent Mugabe. AfriForum filed its application last month in a bid to serve Mugabe with court papers after she allegedly assaulted Engels with an extension cord. The International Relations Department granted Mugabe diplomatic immunity after that incident. We will keep you updated. That's breaking news. We'll bring you some more on that story a little bit later. Now, 2 men accused of being involved in the assault incident with the former Deputy Higher Education